What is up, ladies and gentlemen? YouTube, that's right. I'm Chris Smith. Today I'm going to be talking about Colony, Season 1, Episode 5, Geronimo. Let's get this thing started. Say today, and don't be an ass or a dick, and actually watch the whole video. So here's the basic plot of this thing. It's pretty much about, it's entitled Geronimo, and pretty much takes place about the aftermath and the effects of killing Phyllis. Now, for me, I thought this episode was a solid episode. Nothing that great, but it was a very slow-paced, detailed episode. And we got to learn a lot about, you guessed it, Geronimo. So here's the basic thing, some things that I really did enjoy. One, I really did enjoy seeing the opening scene, show some teenagers kind of putting up these posters and whatnot. At first, I thought maybe it could be a teacher or somebody, or maybe it's just a group of kids that are actually Geronimo, which actually would have been something, but I don't think that's really the case here. Eventually, one of them kind of get captured, and Will kind of interrogates them. This is where some details kind of came in, where he kind of says, you were arrested for putting up resistance propaganda, and I said to myself, well, if it was resistance propaganda, wouldn't it be, Geronimo propaganda, since it was actually, saying Geronimo. So I thought that was interesting because could the Resistance and Geronimo be one and the same, and maybe Geronimo is just like a decoy thing, so the Resistance can kind of carry out their occupation, dethroning, or maybe not. But that's just thing. They have similar goals, but one's more brutal. One kind of uses words that they kind of say. So I thought that was interesting and small details there. Also, some other good things that we actually did get to see. We actually get to see Bram. Bram, Will's son, which is not that great really. But he goes outside the walls. He makes a run for some supplies, and him and his girlfriend, they kind of check this factory. Now, outside the walls, we actually get to see how the world actually really looks. It's not clean Los Angeles, per se. It's damaged buildings. It's looking like a nuclear blast. It looked like a war that was one-sided, and they just lost just like that. I thought that was actually really cool to see. There was no cars, nothing there. Now, for me personally, I think the buildings, not the buildings, but I think somebody is actually living outside there. I just thought it was a little bit strange that the factory had so much stuff in there, and apparently, nothing was wrong, no occupation, no nothing. So I'm just wondering. I feel like somebody is there, just in my opinion, and their hormones just start kicking in out of nowhere. They start, oh damn, coffee makes me so hot. But that's what that kind of came across. Also, for Phyllis being dead, right? So apparently they had to find a new boss. Will kind of gets promoted. I'm just wondering, now that Will is kind of promoted, he's in Phyllis's lead, who eventually will become Will boss. If he doesn't get a new boss, I'm pretty sure his new boss will not be as forgiving as Phyllis and look the other way for certain things. That's just me. Now for Snyder, he kind of realizes that once Will kind of finds this alleged fall guy for Geronimo, right? It turns out Geronimo is nothing more than like a graphic designer, and they say that they use words for power apparently. So they need a real fall guy. So he eventually goes to his bosses, right? There's a chick named Helene, which is going to be, my guess, a big deal in this series or whatever. She realized she's working with the host or whatever. So I'm just wondering how lazy these fucking aliens that they can't kind of come down and do their own bidding. What are they kicking back and relaxing and doing Netflix and chill? But that was just my thing. I was just like, okay, so the aliens are just watching and just like sitting back, and couldn't they just find Geronimo or terrorists or whatever? So I thought that was interesting to see. Also, I thought it was kind of dumb that Will kind of goes on this like he goes to his teacher house in like the middle of the night, that even though he knows it was like curfew, and he still kind of goes through with the shit. So I was just like, isn't that a little bit dumb? And then he says he could get lenses, even though he's still confident for some reason. Why? I don't know why he would think he can get it. Um, Also, a couple of things when Will is constantly getting lied to, and you would think he'd be a little bit more suspicious, as I said last week. So his son lies about him because he wants to get some markets. He says he traded for oranges. Then his wife is doing, painting 6 a.m. in the morning. Nothing to it. Nothing suspicious about it. Whatever. And then I'm just like, Will is either the dumbest guy in the world, or this guy does not have. He is not as good as his job as we apparently think he is. But that's just me. Also, Snyder makes a deal because he needs a fall guy to pretty much look like he's the good guy. He captured Geronimo. So he pretty much puts up Luis. The guy that was on the speaker. He kind of kills him. He kind of executes him. I knew he was bullshitting when he kind of makes an alleged deal. And now I think this is kind of where the problems kind of come in. Because, granted, just because he killed a alleged fall guy, that doesn't mean that's going to stop Geronimo from doing their thing. I feel like it's going to be kind of like Hydra, where you cut one head off, then another head grows back. Somebody will take the mantle. Somebody will be the next voice. It just constantly keeps growing. So I thought that was interesting. Kate and Will, they kind of have this confrontation. Will kind of confronts her about being a little bit suspicious. What was her conversation with Phyllis? I thought it was a good conversation. A little bit one-sided because Josh Holloway did a great job. But Sarah Wayne Cornelius, a.k.a. Kate, did not really do that great of a job because her acting was not really on point in those scenes. I thought Will was great, and I liked the line back and forth, but she was a little bit of the weak link there. They do kind of end this thing with like Will going with Snyder in the car, and then Kate going on a mission with the Resistance. Like the Resistance is now inside the occupation, the black guy, whatever. They kind of meet, and then I was just like, okay, could they kind of like meet head to head with a confrontation next week, and whatever? Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I thought this episode was pretty good for the most part. I'm wondering what exactly is in the sky that the teacher is trying to see, specifically because he wants to see something. It'd be interesting if that was like the season finale. I think they could have waited it out. Also, think they could have waited out a little bit more for the Geronimo stuff. That's just my opinion personally. Look, I enjoyed the episode for the most part, but there are a couple of weak things. Like I thought Liz, the babysitter, is a spy. I don't know what it is, but she's just weird. She comes across as a little creepy, and Kate's disguises in a park are ridiculous. Just because you wear a baseball cap and some glasses, that doesn't mean nobody cannot see that it's clearly you. But that's my opinion. Comment, subscribe, and like. I know this kind of went a little long, but I hope you stay to the end. Then signing out.